The last live stream part 1, the broadcast Ryan was used to streaming late at night. His audience loved his horror game playthroughs, especially when he reacted to the scariest moments in real time. He had built a solid following, and his chat was always active, spamming messages and emotes as he screamed at jump scares. But on that night, something was different. It started as a normal stream. Ryan was playing an indie horror game, one of those obscure ones that barely anyone had heard of. The chat was engaged, laughing at his reactions. He made it to a level where the game's environment changed unexpectedly. Instead of the usual, dimly lit corridors, the screen went completely black. Then, a new scene faded in. It wasn't the game anymore. It was his own room. Ryan blinked, confused. His webcam was on, and his facecam was in the corner, just like always. But now, on the main screen, he saw himself from behind. Someone or something was filming him. His chat exploded. WTF, bro? Is this part of the game? Turn around. A cold chill crept up Ryan's spine. Slowly, he turned his head to check behind him. Nothing. The room was empty. He laughed nervously. Okay. Very funny, guys. Did one of you hack my stream? But the feed didn't change. The game was gone. The only thing on the screen was him. And then the camera angle moved. Something was getting closer. Part 2. The unseen viewer. Ryan's fingers hovered over his keyboard. His pulse pounded in his ears. The stream chat was going wild. Messages flooding in faster than he could read. Dude, WTF, there's someone behind you. Look at the screen. He forced a chuckle. Alright, guys. Nice prank. But seriously, how are you doing this? He moved his mouse, but nothing responded. The only thing on the screen was the live feed of his own room, the perspective still shifting slightly, as if whoever was recording him was stepping closer. His webcam light was still on, meaning it was recording from the correct angle, but that didn't explain what he was seeing. Then, for a brief second, the footage glitched. A new shape flickered into view just behind his chair, a dark outline. Not human. Ryan froze. His throat went dry. His breathing grew shallow. He didn't turn around this time. He didn't need to, because his own reflection on the screen was already reacting. The Ryan in the video turned to look over his shoulder before the real Ryan did. That wasn't a delay. That wasn't a technical issue. That was something else entirely. His reflection was moving on its own. Part 3. Chat knows too much. Ryan reached for his mouse again, trying to close the game, the stream, anything. But his cursor wouldn't move. His keyboard was dead. The chat was still spamming. Get out of there. Why is your reflection moving? This isn't a game. Then a donation alert popped up. A user named Watcher000 had sent $6.66. A message appeared with the donation. Don't turn around. Ryan's breath hitched. His skin crawled. He had no control over the stream, his camera, or his PC. The only thing he could do was sit there, staring at his own reflection as it moved in ways he wasn't. Then, suddenly the screen cut to static. Part 4. The vanishing act. For 5 long seconds, nothing but white noise filled the stream. Then the feed returned, but Ryan was gone. His chair was empty. The room was dimly lit, the only source of light coming from the glow of the monitor. His mic was still on, but all that could be heard was faint breathing. The chat exploded in panic. Where did he go? Hello? This isn't funny, man. The breathing grew louder. Then the camera feed tilted. The unseen camera operator was now moving. The perspective shifted as if someone or something was stepping into Ryan's chair, sitting where he had just been. A single word appeared on screen, typed in a glitched out font. Watching. Then the stream ended. Part 5. The aftermath. The next day, Ryan's Twitch channel was still active, but all his content had been wiped. No past broadcasts, no clips, no signs he had ever streamed at all. His Discord server was silent. No one had heard from him. His friends tried calling him, but the number had been disconnected. But then a new stream went live. Viewers flooded in immediately, expecting answers. But when the video loaded, all they saw was a dark, empty room. Ryan's room. The chair was still there. His PC was still running. The screen showed his last known game, frozen on the menu. Then the webcam feed flickered to life. The chair creaked as something unseen shifted in it. And then the breathing started again. Part 6. The return. The breathing was slow, deliberate. Deep inhales, ragged exhales. The chat erupted. Ryan? WHO is there. Stop playing, man. This isn't funny. The webcam adjusted its focus. Something sat in Ryan's chair, but there was no visible body, only the indentation of weight pressing into the seat, the faintest outline of something hunched forward. The breathing grew sharper, almost like laughter. Then, the text-to-speech donation alert chimed again. 666 from Watcher 00. The message read, "He let me in." The chat went berserk. Hundreds of messages flooded in. People tried tagging Ryan, messaging him, begging for a response, but the only reply came from the stream itself. A distorted, glitched-out voice crackled through the mic. "Still watching." The screen flickered. For a split second, the stream lagged, then the camera shifted as if someone was manually tilting it. The angle changed, now facing the room's doorway. The door, which had been closed a moment ago, was now wide open. Darkness loomed beyond it. Then footsteps, slow, heavy, moving toward the chair. The breathing stopped. Then the screen cut to black. Part 7, offline. But not Go Nethy stream stayed black for an agonizing 10 seconds. Chat exploded with frantic messages. WH80 happened. Stream crashed. Someone call the cops. Then, just as suddenly, the feed returned. But it wasn't Ryan's room anymore. It was a hallway, dimly lit, narrow, stretching far into darkness. The walls looked warped, like the textures in a corrupted video game, shifting and twisting. A single door stood at the end. The chat slowed for a moment, viewers hesitating. This wasn't Ryan's camera. This wasn't his house. A new donation alert. 666 from Watcher 00. "You're watching me. Now I watch you." Then the camera began moving forward by itself. Each step sounded wet, unnatural, like bare feet on concrete. The hallway stretched longer the closer the camera got to the door, as if it would never actually reach it. The walls pulsed, bulging outward like they were breathing. The chat was in full panic mode. What is this place? Where is Ryan? Turn back. Then the camera jerked violently. The door was right there. No transition, no movement. It was just there. A slow creak echoed as the door swung open. Beyond it, Ryan, Part 8, but not Ryanhi, was sitting on the floor, hunched over, his back to the camera. His head twitched in short, erratic movements like a marionette with tangled strings. His arms dangled limply at his sides. His shadow, cast long against the floor, twitched in the opposite direction. The chat exploded. "Ryan bro, say something. WTF is wrong with his head? Someone call his friends." Then Ryan moved, not naturally. One moment, he was seated. The next, his body snapped upright. His head turned, but not all the way, just enough to reveal his mouth. A wide, unnatural grin spread across his face, lips curling back to far. His teeth, there were too many. Then, the chat froze. No new messages, no usernames, just a single system notification. Chat disabled by streamer. The breathing returned. This time, it was close. Too close. The camera lurched forward, straight into Ryan's face, his mouth open, static. Part 9. The last Cliprian stream never came back. His channel was deleted within the hour. No archives, no clips, no account history. But some viewers had recorded it, and they wished they hadn't. The reuploads were cursed. Anyone who tried to watch found their screens glitching, their devices overheating. Some claimed their webcams flickered on by themselves. Others swore they heard breathing coming from just behind them. Then, one by one, the videos disappeared. Struck down, not by YouTube, but by something else. Something that didn't want them to be seen. One final message was left in a Discord server that had been tracking the incident. A new user joined. Their name? Watcher 000. Their only message? Still watching. Part 10. The curse spread. Disappearance of Ryan's channel should have been the end. But it wasn't. A week later, a new Twitch account appeared. Ryan_live.it had no profile picture, no bio, just a single scheduled stream. "I'm back. 3 a.m. At the exact time, thousands joined, desperate for answers. But when the stream began, it wasn't Ryan on screen.it was a live feed of someone else's bedroom. The footage was grainy, taken from a high corner like a hidden security cam. A figure lay asleep in bed, their back turned to the camera. The chat exploded in panic. Whose room is this? Is this a prank? This isn't funny. WTF. Then the camera zoomed in by itself. It focused on the closet door. It was slightly open. The darkness inside seemed deeper than it should be. A void. Something moved within it. Not a shape, not a figure, just movement. The sleeper stirred. A deep, low creak filled the audio feed. The closet door opened a fraction wider. Then a message appeared in chat. Not from a user, from the streamer. Don't wake up. The breathing returned. This time, it wasn't coming from the stream. Part 11. No escapathy. Viewers panic. Some claimed they heard something breathing in their own rooms. Others said their screens flickered, their cameras turned on. Then, suddenly, the sleeper on screen sat up, not gradually, jerked upright. But something was wrong. Their back was still facing the camera, yet their head had turned all the way around. Their eyes were wide, unblinking. Their mouth hung open in a silent scream. The chat lost it. WTF, WTF, WF, no way, this is real, stop watching. Turn ID off. Then the figure moved. It crawled out of bed, joints cracking, limbs bending wrong. The camera feed distorted. For a brief second, the closet behind them wasn't empty anymore. Something stepped out, and the stream cut to black. The next day, the Twitch channel was gone. No records, no past streams. But those who had watched, those who had really watched, began receiving messages. No sender. No reply option. Just 2 words, still watching. Part 12. The messages didn't stop. At first, they were just 2 words, still watching. Then they changed. Some users received messages with their own names they had never used online. Others got timestamps, random at first, until they realized they matched the exact moment they had last looked into a dark room. One user, desperate for answers, messaged back, "Who are you?" No response. Then a minute later, his phone vibrated. A new notification. A video file. No sender. No title. He hesitated, then pressed play. The footage was dark, shaky, like it was filmed through a cracked lens. The camera moved through a familiar setting, his own house. The hallway outside his bedroom. Then the perspective tilted up, pointing at his door. It was open. Inside, he could see his bed, himself, asleep. And then the breathing, slow, heavy, coming from behind the camera. The screen glitched. The last frame froze, his own sleeping form, unmoving. Then, at the bottom of the screen, distorted text flickered into view. "Don't wake up." The video ended. His bedroom door creaked open. Part 13. Not just online reports, spread across forums, Discord servers, even mainstream news sites. People who had watched Ryan's final stream were experiencing something strange: noises, flickering screens, whispers through their headphones. Some swore they saw shadows moving where no shadows should be. One streamer, desperate for views, re-uploaded the footage. The video barely lasted an hour before YouTube took it down. The reason? Violates policy. Unknown. The uploader received an email. No sender. Just a single message. "Now I watch you." Then his webcam light turned on by itself. His screen went black, reflecting his own face, but there was someone standing behind him. Part 14. The disappearances started with small things. The uploader who had reposted Ryan's footage vanished from all platforms. His channel? Gone. His Discord? Silent. His friends? No response. His apartment? Empty. Then others began disappearing. Viewers who had stayed for the entire final stream, the ones who had seen everything. Their online presence was wiped clean. No logs, no archives, no trace that they had ever existed. The only proof: their unfinished messages, a Reddit post, cut off mid-sentence, a Twitter thread ending with, "Wait, what was that noise?" A Discord message: "Someone's at my window." I don't. Then silence. But the worst part? Their rooms weren't empty. Their devices were still on. Their beds were still warm. It was as if they had simply stepped away for a second, then never came back. And in every abandoned room, in every glowing screen, the same 2 words appeared: "Still watching." Part 15. The live stream that shouldn't exist. Weeks later, a new channel appeared. No name, no description, just a single live stream. No thumbnail, no title, just the word, "Live." Curious or reckless viewers joined, thousands of them. The screen was pitch black, silent, no audio, no video, just darkness. Then, after exactly 6 minutes and 66 seconds, the chat disabled itself. The screen flickered. Something shifted in the blackness. A faint outline, a figure. Not Ryan, not human. It moved closer. The breathing returned, but now it was louder. Not from the stream, from behind the viewers themselves. Some slammed their laptops shut. Others ripped their headphones off. But a few, too curious, too frozen in fear, kept watching. and they saw it, a face forming out of the darkness. Not a face, exactly something trying to become one. Features shifting, warping, eyes that were too deep to empty. Then, the stream glitched, pixels melting into unreadable symbols. A new donation alert popped up, 666 from Watcher 00. The message, you watched too long. The screen cut to black, the stream ended, and the viewers who had stayed, they didn't log in again. Not ever. Part 16. The accounts that weren't there, people tried to forget, tried to move on, but the internet doesn't forget. A week after the cursed live stream, strange accounts started appearing across platforms: YouTube, Twitch, Discord, even personal emails, accounts with no profile pictures, no uploaded content, no mutual friends, just one thing in common: their usernames. Each one was the name of someone who had disappeared. Some thought it was a cruel prank. Others, those who had watched the final stream, knew better, because these accounts weren't just reusing the names, they were posting videos, streams, comments, messages, but the people behind them weren't there. One former viewer who had deleted his entire internet presence out of fear got an email.no sender. No subject, just a single attachment, a video file. He hesitated, then played it. It was his own bedroom, filmed from inside his closet. The footage was grainy, shifting like it was being watched through a screen. His bed was empty. He wasn't there, but the camera panned down, and he saw them, handprints, all over the inside of the closet door, smudged, desperate, pressed against the wood. Then the breathing started, but this time, it was coming from inside the video. The camera lurched forward, rushing toward the closet door. The video cut to black. A single frame of text flickered before it ended. Still watching. The email deleted itself, and when he turned around, his closet door was open. Part 17. The glitch that spoke. A popular tech YouTuber, one who never covered horror, only gadgets and coding, broke his silence. He uploaded a video, not his usual tech reviews. A warning. He had been analyzing the glitches from Ryan's final stream, running the footage through various filters, frame by frame processing, and he found something, a hidden frame that only appeared for 0.1 seconds at the very end. A single image, not a face, not text. An IP address, a real one, traceable, and when he pinged it, it responded. Not with code, not with an error, with a message. Something was typing back. You shouldn't have looked. His screen flickered. The IP disappeared. His entire system crashed. When he rebooted, the file was gone. His webcam turned on. A new comment appeared on his latest video, from an account with his own name, still watching. He deleted his channel that night, but the comment stayed, and the next morning so did a new video, uploaded from his account, a live stream. The thumbnail? His own empty chair, but the stream title had changed. Not empty anymore. Part 18. The live stream that watched back stream began. People clicked out of morbid curiosity. Others joined because they had heard the rumors. Some just wanted to see if it was real. The screen was dark at first, just a black void, no sound, no chat. Then the video flickered. A room appeared familiar, but wrong. It was the tech YouTuber's studio, his desk, his setup, his chair, but it wasn't empty anymore. Someone or something was sitting in it. Not him, not human. The figure was distorted. It looked like an approximation of him, a shape trying to become him, but failing. Features shifting, warping, like a corrupted deepfake. The thing turned toward the camera. It opened its mouth. The audio feed screeched, a distorted mess of static and deep, inhuman sounds. The words were broken, layered, too many voices at once, but one sentence came through, clear as day. You shouldn't have watched. Viewers tried to close the tab, exit the stream, but their screens froze. Some panicked. Others unplugged their PCs. But one viewer, one who had been recording, noticed something worse. The figure in the chair? It wasn't on the stream anymore. It was in his room. The recording cut off. The tech YouTuber's channel was deleted an hour later. His house? Empty. His chair? Still spinning. And the stream? Still live.no title. No source. Just a camera feed of darkness. And in the chat, still watching. Part 19. The unlisted videos should have stopped there, but YouTube's algorithm started acting wrong. People reported seeing strange recommendations, videos they had never clicked on, unlisted videos. Some were hours of static, others, random clips of empty rooms, no context, no titles, But the worst ones, they were watching back. One user, curious or reckless, clicked on one of the videos. It was 2 minutes long. The thumbnail was just a black screen. He pressed play. At first, nothing, just silence, a void. Then 30 seconds in a whisper. So faint it barely registered. A voice saying his name. Then a timestamp flashed on the screen. It was the exact time and date of his next live stream. The screen flickered. A frame of his own bedroom appeared. Not a recording, not old footage. Live. He saw himself sitting there, watching. Then a second figure entered the frame, not through the door, from behind his chair. The video cut to black. A final message appeared. Next, the user deleted his account, but the video stayed, and it kept appearing for new people, with new names and new timestamps. The algorithm wasn't broken. It was picking the next victim. Part 20. The live stream that followed you at first. It seemed like the strange videos were just a bug, a glitch in the algorithm, but then people started seeing them outside of YouTube. One Reddit user posted a thread. I keep getting weird links in my email. No sender, no subject, just a YouTube URL. Every time I click, it's an unlisted video only. A few seconds long. It shows my house, my window. Last night, I got another one. It was streaming from my bedroom. The post ended there. His account was deleted an hour later. Then, the reports got worse. People started seeing live stream notifications from channels they didn't recognize. Channels with no subscribers, no content, no history. The notifications always said the same thing. Now live, watching. Curious or reckless viewers clicked. The screen was black at first. Then the video feed flickered on, and it wasn't just a random place. It was their own rooms. Live. In real time. Some users saw themselves sleeping. Others saw their own computer screens from the other side. One streamer tried to prove it was fake. He clicked on the link while live on Twitch, laughing it off. The feed loaded. It was his own setup, his own room, but he wasn't in his chair. The video glitched. The perspective shifted as if the unseen camera was turning. Something moved. In the corner, a shadow. No shape, no details, just darkness pooling into something almost human. The chat exploded. Bro, behind you. Dude, WF is that? Don't turn around. But he didn't need to, because his monitor changed. The YouTube stream, his own feed was lagging. By 1 second, a tiny delay. But then his reflection moved first, before he did. And then the stream cut to black. His Twitch channel was deleted by the next morning. His room? Empty. But his PC was still on. A single tab was open. A new livestream. No title. No chat. Just a chair. His chair. Spinning. And in the darkness breathing. Part 21. The sound that shouldn't exist. People stopped clicking. Stopped searching. Stopped talking. But the videos didn't stop. One programmer, curious, desperate, downloaded a corrupted stream file. He ran it through a spectrogram, hoping to see what wasn't visible. He found something worse. The video's audio wasn't just static. It contained a pattern, a voice, low, almost inhuman. But when he slowed it down, it spoke. You are seen. He scrubbed through the rest. More whispers, more phrases. You are chosen. You are next. And at the very end, turn around. His camera light blinked on. The recording corrupted. His entire PC shut off. When it restarted, his wallpaper had changed. A still frame from the very last second of the video. A blurry shape, standing right behind him. Part 22. The final strengthen. One night it returned. Ryan's channel. Back online. His profile picture was the same, but wrong. A distorted version. His face blurred, stretched into something not quite human. And he was live. No title. No thumbnail. Just still watching. Thousands joined immediately. The screen was black at first. Then, the feed flickered on. It was him, Ryan, sitting in his chair, silent, motionless. But something was off. His skin was too pale, his eyes too dark. And when he finally spoke, his voice wasn't his, layered, distorted, echoing. Thank you for watching. Then the camera shifted, turning, revealing a wall of screens, hundreds of them, thousands, each one showing a different viewer, live, watching. Then the stream cut to black, and the final message appeared. Now we watch you. The video ended. Ryan's channel vanished, and the next day so did thousands of viewers. Their accounts deleted, their names replaced. By something else. New usernames, empty channels, waiting, and if you ever see one of those accounts in your chat, don't reply, don't click, and whatever you do, don't watch. Part 23. The stream that wouldn't end. People thought it was over. Ryan's channel was gone. The cursed live stream had disappeared, but something else remained. A single stream, a new one kept appearing in random recommendations. No title, no description, no source, just a black screen. People clicked, expecting nothing. At first, that's all they saw. Darkness, silence, then movement. Something shifted in the shadows. The audio feed crackled. A breath. Then, in the chat, who's still watching? No username, just the message, as if the stream itself had spoken. Then another message appeared, not from a viewer, from you, your own username, typing without you typing. I am. The screen flickered, the darkness split open, a face, not human, not fully formed, a shifting mass of features twisting into something almost familiar, almost yours. Then the camera turned, and for the briefest moment you saw your own reflection, watching, before the feed cut to black. Part 24. The ones who vanish. Headballs started disappearing, not in real life, at least, not at first. Online, accounts went silent. Users who had commented on the last stream gone, their names wiped, their profiles erased. At first, people thought they had just deleted themselves, but then the accounts came back, empty, but active. No posts, no videos, no history, just one thing in common. They were all watching. A small eye icon appeared next to their usernames, a feature YouTube never had. One user clicked on a name. The page loaded. A single video was there, unlisted, no title. He clicked. The screen went black. Then his own face appeared. Not a video, not a past recording, a live feed, filming him from behind. He turned and the screen glitched. The last thing it showed was his chair, spinning. The video deleted itself, and his account erased. Part 25. The algorithm is watching. YouTube's algorithm started acting strange. People stopped getting normal recommendations. Instead, they got streams, unlisted, untracked, no sources. The more they watched, the more it followed them. One user tried to report it. He sent an email to YouTube support. No response, until his phone buzzed. A new email from an unknown sender. No subject, no body, just a single attachment, a video file. He hesitated, then played it. The footage was grainy, black and white, a security camera feed of his own front door. Something was standing there, a dark outline, staring directly at the camera. Then, the screen flickered, a timestamp appeared. Live stream starts, 3:00 a.m. His webcam light turned on. Part 26. The final viewer and last warning. A Reddit user desperate posted, if you see it, don't watch. If you click, it sees you too. If you type, it knows your name. If you hear it, it's already too late. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have watched. The post got deleted in less than an hour, but one comment remained, from a blank account, still watching. And if you see that comment, don't reply, don't click, and whatever you do, don't stream alone. Part 27. The glitch in the feed. It started with a simple comment. At first, it didn't seem strange, just another viewer commenting on the most recent stream. I can hear it too. But the chat exploded. Hundreds of comments, some accusing the user of trolling, others in shock, because they heard it too. A faint whisper, a voice coming through the static of the live stream. It wasn't clear at first, just a vague mumble, something indistinguishable. Then, the feed began to glitch, the screen flickered, the darkness shifting as if the very code of the stream was warping, and the whispers grew louder. Not alone, we're waiting, a viewer typed. Who's behind me? Their webcam light flickered. A new message appeared in the chat. Behind you. The feed froze for a second. Then, a loud crackling sound. The camera jerked, showing a dark figure standing behind the viewer. The feed was cut. The stream went black. Then, it came back, showing only the empty room. The webcam still on, and a new message, still watching. Part 28. The name that changed. It wasn't just the streamers anymore. It was anyone who clicked on the wrong link. One user posted about his discovery on Twitter. I think I found something every time I click on one of the unlisted videos. It changes the name of my YouTube account. I didn't type anything, it just happens. He tried to delete the account, but when he logged back and his name was different. The new name was just a series of numbers. But the next time he logged in, it was his full name, the name that the algorithm chose. And when he went live, he noticed Something even worse, the title of his stream was already set, watching. He tried to change it, but the words wouldn't budge. The chat exploded again. You shouldn't have changed the title. It's already watching. His stream started flickering. His webcam was frozen, stuck on his face, eyes wide with panic. Then a second figure appeared in the corner of the stream. Not a reflection. Not another person in the room. A shadow, watching him. The stream cut to black. Then just as quickly it returned. But now, his name was no longer his own. It was someone else's. And the username in the chat. It was him. Part 29. The Endless Feed. Another user tried to investigate deeper. He was a programmer, and he thought he could figure out how the algorithm worked. He downloaded several of the unlisted streams, analyzing the code, trying to understand how it connected. What he discovered was far worse than anything he expected. The videos didn't just follow viewers, they followed their thoughts. The unlisted videos were reading the user's actions, everything. They weren't just showing random footage, they were showing what the viewer feared most. One user, curious but skeptical, watched several streams only to find himself seeing the exact same scenes that had haunted him for days. A shadow in his bedroom, a sound in the attic. Every time he closed his eyes, he could hear the whispers. And then, he tried a test. He thought about a place, a secluded room he had once visited when he was younger. A memory he hadn't thought about in years. The next video that played, it was his old room. The walls, the old wallpaper, and the voice, "You should have stayed away." The video cut to black. Then the stream resumed, but it wasn't from the past anymore. It was live. It was him. In his current room, and a figure was sitting in his chair, just watching him. The last thing the viewer saw before the feed cut was his own reflection in the monitor. But it wasn't him. It was someone else, someone waiting. Part 30. The link that never ends. Rumors spread. People stopped clicking, stopped searching. But the link, it never stopped. It started appearing randomly, in emails, in comments, in strange messages from users with no profile. Each time someone clicked the link changed them, their name, their account, their life. They could still hear the whispers, still feel the weight of the eyes on them. But it wasn't over. One user, who thought they had escaped the stream, realized they had made a mistake. They clicked the link one last time. The stream didn't just show a face. It showed the viewer's own face, distorted beyond recognition. Then, a message appeared in the chat. It's too late now. The user's account was wiped clean. And their name? It was replaced. By something else. Watching. Part 31. The message you can't ignore. On late night, someone discovered a thread on a deep web forum. It wasn't unusual at first. A user posted about strange videos appearing on their YouTube recommendations. They thought it was a weird glitch, something minor. But then, things started happening. At first, it was just small things. Their mouse cursor would move on its own when hovering over one particular stream link. They tried to delete the history, but it came back. Every time they opened the app, the same unlisted stream appeared. The title? You Are Next. They shrugged it off at first, thinking it was a joke. Until they clicked on the link, the screen went black. Then came a faint sound, a whisper, very faint, barely audible, like it was coming from deep within the screen. The message flashed on the screen, in distorted, glitchy text. You shouldn't have clicked. They tried to close it, but the stream wouldn't close. They tried every button, every setting, but nothing worked. It felt as if the video was locking the screen, preventing them from leaving. The whispers grew louder, more distinct. Now, watching. Then, the image shifted. It wasn't just a blank screen anymore. There was a shadow in the corner of the room, just out of sight. The chat feed suddenly exploded with messages. They were all from the same user. I told you not to click. Now you can't escape. The shadow moved closer. It was hard to make out at first, but the more they stared at the screen, the clearer it became. An arm reaching out of the darkness. A dark, distorted figure seemed to manifest from the blackness of the stream. The shadows bent, twisting around, the edges of the frame like black smoke. It spoke, a voice, barely recognizable, but with a sense of authority. You shouldn't have watched this. Then everything went silent. The screen flickered once, twice, and then cut to black. The user's screen turned off, but a notification appeared. A new stream live had started. Part 32. The silent watcher. Days passed. People spoke of a new figure appearing in their streams. First, it was just a blurred image, something moving in the background, always just out of focus, never quite visible. But soon enough, people began to realize it wasn't just a glitch. It was a shadow, a dark figure, always there, lurking in the corners of streams, always just out of frame. It didn't speak, didn't interact. It simply watched. Some thought it was just part of the weird algorithm. Others said it was just a prank, some user trying to mess with the system. But then, people started disappearing. Accounts, names, users, they all started to vanish from YouTube entirely. The videos they posted, the streams they made, all erased, as if they had never existed. And soon, the same shadow appeared in every stream, in every room, always lurking, waiting, until one day, someone noticed something strange. The shadow wasn't just watching anymore. It was waiting for someone to look directly at it. And the moment they did, their face appeared in the stream, watching you. It was always the same. No matter who looked, no matter what video it was, the shadow would appear. And each time, it would whisper, "You are already gone." Part 33. The video that knows you own. Of the streamers, desperate for answers, did something no one else dared to try. They deliberately interacted with the shadow. They typed in the chat. They looked directly at the camera. They acknowledged the dark figure. At first, nothing happened. The stream continued. The chat continued. No change. But then the message appeared. "We are waiting." And then a new video appeared on their feed. Unlisted, of course, a black screen. They clicked. And this time, they didn't just see the shadow. They saw themselves, not from their webcam, but from inside the stream. The camera was from behind them, watching them. It was like they were sitting in front of their own reflection. The figure didn't speak, but its eyes. It was as if the shadow knew them. And just when the streamer tried to turn away, the shadow moved. It leaned closer to the camera. The message appeared again. "You're next." But this time, it wasn't from the chat. It came from the video itself. The stream froze, everything went still, and in the silent darkness, the last words were written on the screen. "The feed never ends." Part 34. The curse of the stream. At this point, a chilling realization began to set in. The streams weren't just random. They were following the viewers. They knew them. The more they watched, the deeper they were pulled in. Each stream seemed to pick up on personal details, things that only they knew, fears that only they had. The videos started to reflect their thoughts, their memories, their darkest secrets, and soon, it became clear the streams didn't want viewers to escape. They wanted them to stay. Each time someone clicked on the wrong link, the feed followed them. It mimicked them, until one day, their username would no longer be their own. Their reflection would appear, and they would be gone. The last thing they'd see was the message, "We are always here." Part 35. The eyes in the Darno. The streams have spread. No one knows how to stop them. They keep showing up on random feeds, always enlisted. Every time someone tries to ignore them, to avoid clicking, a message will appear. "You're not allowed to leave." They are waiting, and they are watching. If you see it, don't watch. If you click, it will follow you. If you feel it, you won't be able to escape. It knows your name. It knows your fears. It knows where you are. And it's coming for you. Always. Watching, always waiting. Part 36. The Watcher's Invitation. It was late when Jenna stumbled upon it. The stream link appeared in the most random place, just a comment under a popular video. She didn't think much of it at first. Maybe it was some kind of prank. But curiosity gnawed at her. She clicked. The video loaded, and the screen flickered for a split second. Then came the sound, low, almost like a hum. A strange figure stood in the background of the stream, its face impossible to make out, shrouded in darkness. For a moment, Jenna thought it was just part of the video. But then the figure moved, not just shifted like it was part of the scene, but stepped closer to the camera. A message appeared in the chat. "Jenna, we've been waiting for you." Her heart stopped. How did it know her name? The figure stepped into the light, its face still hidden in shadow. But it wasn't just any shadow. It looked as if the figure was slowly becoming part of the screen itself, its edges blending into the blackness. Jenna froze, unable to click away. The whispers were back, louder than ever before. "You can't leave." Then the figure did something that made her blood run cold. It smiled, and just as the smile grew wider, the screen glitched, her entire feed froze, and her webcam light flickered. The chat was silent for a moment, then a new message appeared. "It's your turn now." The screen turned black. The whispers grew louder, more frantic. Then the camera feed returned. But it wasn't Jenna anymore. It was the figure sitting in her chair. The Chat was flooded with messages. Jenna, no, don't leave. This isn't a joke. But it was too late. The figure's face was now visible, distorted beyond recognition, and as it stared into the camera, its eyes widened. We are always watching. The feed cut out. Part 37. The invitation goes further. Next day, Jenna's account was gone. All her videos erased. Her profile completely wiped from the platform. It wasn't the first time something like this had happened, but this time it was different. People who had followed Jenna's streams began reporting strange occurrences. Videos started appearing on their recommended feed, unlisted and hidden, just like the others. Each person who watched, no matter how carefully they avoided clicking, no matter how many times they refreshed their feed, ended up finding the same thing. An invitation. It didn't matter how much time passed or how far they scrolled. Every time, the same link appeared, the same dark figure, waiting. But this time, there were more. The figure wasn't alone. Each person who clicked found themselves watching multiple figures, each one more grotesque than the last. The shadows surrounded them, closing in on the screen, bending the video feed until the very edges of the frame became impossible to recognize. And as the figures closed in, a message appeared. Now it's your turn. Every person who clicked the link began to feel a strange presence in their room. It was like someone was standing behind them, breathing down their neck. The air would grow heavy, the walls seeming to close in, until it felt as if the very shadows were alive. Part 38. The faces in the dark. Viewer tried to be clever. He disconnected from the stream before the shadow could get too close. He figured it was just some sort of glitch, that he could just leave and it would all be fine. But when he returned, the next day, he noticed something strange. His profile picture had changed. It wasn't his face anymore. It was a distorted version of his face, frozen in a grotesque expression, eyes wide with terror. He didn't think much of it at first until he started to notice the same thing happening to his friends. Their profile pictures were all distorted in the same way, faces twisted in fear, eyes wide open. And then the notifications started. A new stream. The title, I am watching. He clicked. The screen was dark at first, just like all the others, but then, slowly, the faces began to appear, distorted faces from the chat, from the viewers. The stream was alive, showing their faces, their expressions twisted in agony. They were all trapped in the feed. He couldn't look away, but he didn't have a choice. The shadows were closing in, and the whispers started again, this time louder than before. We are all connected. Then a new message appeared in the chat. You are no longer alone. It was at that moment he realized the faces in the feed weren't just viewers, they were victims, they were trapped, and now he was one of them. Part 39. The feed that never ends. Days turned into weeks, but the streams kept coming. And no matter how many times people tried to report the videos, to block the links, they always returned. They would come in the form of messages, unlisted streams, and random notifications, and with each click, more people disappeared. More faces appeared on the screen. More lives became part of the feed. Every time someone watched, they would feel the presence of something watching them, always lurking, always waiting. The figures on the screen grew stronger with each passing day. They didn't just stand still anymore. They started to move, and each time the stream played, the figure would get closer. They were no longer just watching, they were getting ready to take. You can't escape. The feed will never stop. We are always here. And with that, the screen cut to black once again, but the whispers continued. And they would continue until you clicked, until you joined the feed, because once you've watched, there's no going back. Part 40. The final invitation. The last thing that ever happens, the last thing you see, is an invitation. A name. Your name flashed on the screen, but it isn't your name anymore. It's the name the feed has given you. It's the name you'll carry for as long as the feed runs. The last words you hear are, "You are now part of us." And that's the moment the shadows claim you forever. Part 41. The end of the feed. The darkness had finally claimed every part of the stream. The chat was silent now, but there was something else, something different. The figure in the stream, the one who had watched all those who clicked, was no longer just standing in the background. It was in the foreground now, and it wasn't alone. The shadows had grown stronger. More figures, thousands of them, stood around the viewer. The once distorted faces of the viewers were now perfectly clear. Their eyes were wide, full of horror, their mouths frozen in a scream. Their souls were trapped, forever staring into the void of the screen. The figure stepped closer to the camera, its eyes dark pits, voids of black. A smile stretched across its face. The whispers grew louder now, overlapping each other, as if the voices of all the victims were trapped inside the feed. They weren't speaking in sync anymore. They were all pleading, crying, begging for help. But it was too late. One by one, the figures started to speak. "Join us. You're part of the feed now. It's your turn." A chill swept over the room, as if the darkness from the stream had spread outwards. The walls of the viewer's room began to close in, the lights flickering, casting long, twisted shadows on the walls. The whispers came from everywhere, suffocating, overlapping. The figure in the stream was now standing right in front of the viewer, its form shifting, distorting in ways that made the viewer feel dizzy. And then the figure reached out. It stretched its hand, long and thin, toward the camera. The screen cracked, flickered, as the figure's hand moved into the real world. The darkness of the screen began to creep out of the device, inching towards the viewer, pulling at the very air around them. The whispers turned to screams. "You're next." In that moment, the viewer understood the horrifying truth. The stream was alive. It wasn't just an image on a screen. It was a gateway, a portal that pulled people in and trapped them in its endless cycle. And once you were a part of the feed, you were trapped forever. The last message flashed on the screen. "The feed never stops." Then the screen went completely black. The whispers faded. The room was silent. The viewer felt a cold hand on their shoulder. They tried to move to escape, but the shadows had already claimed them. There was nothing left. Epilogue: the endless cycle. Weeks later, a new account appeared. It was another user, someone curious enough to click. The same stream appeared in their recommendations, just as it had for all those before. They clicked it, just like all the others. They didn't know yet. They didn't know that the cycle would never end. They didn't know that once you joined, you would never leave. The darkness was waiting. The whispers were calling, and they would never stop. The feed never ends.